Highly classified information, Bev, and it also indicates that we know that the Justice Department and the FBI was looking into this, well over a year ago. In fact, according to the affidavit, it says that in May 2021, that was when the National Archives first alerted the Justice Department to the missing documents. So I think it shows how much has gone into this investigation. So, going forward, though, look, there are still so many questions about what is in that affidavit. So much of it has been redacted. I think if you support President Trump, you are going to say that this works well for him, that there's nothing to see here. While if you're a Trump critic or someone who's very skeptical of how he's handled this entire saga, I think, you're going to see that the Justice Department is very much trying to protect witnesses that could be subject to some sort of intimidation. And that is why the Justice Department has said it's so heavily redacted.
Yeah. And to that point, there is now the suspicion that someone close, or maybe more than one person close to Donald Trump, is actually cooperating with the FBI.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be surprising given that we know that while these documents were in Mar-a-Lago, they were, not exactly out in the open in Mar-a-Lago. They were in a safe. So this person would have known where they were. These people, I should say, could have known where they were and could have helped the Justice Department continue this investigation.
Interesting, too, was this ongoing discussion between whether a document is classified or declassified. Indications that really it doesn't really matter with the sensitivity and the nature of these documents, that these documents either way should never have been in someone's personal home.
Right. There's been this huge debate as to who has the power to declassify information. You have President Trump saying that, essentially as a former sitting president or a former president or sitting president, he has the power to do that. However, the National Archives has essentially said, no, that's not how it works. That information should have never been taken to Mar-a-Lago in the first place. But you're absolutely right, Beth. A lot of this information was classified, in fact, could only be opened in secure government facilities. It wasn't like this could be opened anywhere in Washington, D.C. or any federal government building. It had to be specific ones. So that's why it's so controversial that it was taken to President Trump's private property.
I'm fascinated in terms of what analysts are saying about what this means for possible charges and where it is along the line in terms of potentially charging Donald Trump.
Right. So this is, part of an investigation into whether Trump violated the Espionage Act. However, look, I think we're going to have to see where this investigation goes. I imagine there is more they want to given the political environment in this country, where we are so divided. I think the Justice Department is going to be very, very careful with how they proceed with any charges if they in fact charge President Trump. I thought it was notable that over the weekend, Senator Lindsey Graham, a Republican senator from South Carolina, who is a big Trump ally, said that if Trump were to be prosecuted, there would be, quote unquote, riots in the streets. So it shows really how Trump supporters, Trump allies are really already starting to rev up their responses to the, notion that he could be charged.
Yeah. And of course, the midterms now, a couple of months away. Is this distracting for both sides?
Not necessarily. Look, I think you are going to see Republicans continue to dig into this, particularly Republicans close to President Trump, saying that this is once again an example of how President Trump has been treated by the elites, the government, if you will, how there's a coordinated hit job against him, for example. I don't think it will be an everyday campaign issue for Republicans, though. Their message has basically been inflation, border, and the economy. And of course, Democrats, while they'll comment on it, I don't think they want to be campaigning on it either. They want to be focusing on those kitchen table issues as well. And for them, a lot of that is inflation as well, but also the question of abortion access here in the United States.
Well, which is really fascinating because this is turning into quite a positive sort of rebound to the Democrats because, I think I saw a poll saying that about 60% of people are unhappy with what the Supreme Court has done with regard to Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, there were a number of special elections here in the United States last week, including in New York, in the 19th congressional district. This is a district that is seen to be a bit of a bellwether for where American politics could go in the next couple of months ahead of November. And we saw a very close race between the Republican and the Democrat running in that district. And the Democrat, Pat Ryan, who spent much of the campaign focusing on abortion, even released an ad, his first general election ad, after just hours after Roe v. Wade was overturned in June. He won the election. So you're seeing a lot of Democrats thinking, okay, this is something potentially we could campaign on, and something that could potentially lead us not only to keep the Senate majority, but also the House majority. That being said, though, I think Democrats, have a much better chance of keeping the Senate right now than they do the House in November.
Yeah, that's the way it looks. Good to talk to you, Leigh. Thanks so much.
Thank you.